everybody, welcome to a special edition of Close Enough Construction meets Quarantine Kitchen. An odd combination, you might think. Nah. Tell you what, it's wintertime, and I always want a little soup when it's cold out. But right now, it's the middle of the afternoon, it's sunny, it's actually real nice, so I'm going to sit on the porch and whittle a wooden spoon that we can use for making the soup later tonight. Let's get started.
Grandpa was a jack of all trades. He was a master of none. At the end of the day, he'd find a way to get it done. He built a dollhouse for Mama, a dream house for Grandma. He took pride in.
All right, kids, first of all, don't try this at home unless you know how to handle an axe. You'll probably cut your fingers off, whereas I'm a trained professional. And here's the proof. You're an embarrassment to the sport of axe throwing, and you should be proud and honored that I allowed you to throw.
You never once met a stranger. You mowed yards and fixed fence. You always helped out the neighbors. You never wasted a cent. He could tend a good garden. He could sharpen.
Try not to go too fast. You get in a hurry on this, one wrong cut, you'll waste the entire piece. Everything you've been working for. And then what you have is a smaller spoon. This is a tool you most certainly don't want to cut towards yourself with because it is a sharp son of a gun. And it will cut your goddamn thumb off before you can even say, ow!
Build a tranny, open fruit jars for Granny, then you go take a nap in the shade. Fixed a hole in the wicker.
All right, sun just went down, so it's about to get cold out here, and I'm getting a little tired, which is always a good place to stop. So you don't go too fast and mess up all the hard work that you spent already. So I'm gonna stop right here, but this is pretty good little start. I'm finally back here on the porch on another glorious day. It's probably 45 degrees out. I'm gonna finish up the spoon so we can get that soup started.
Well, it once was a fireman.
All right, here we are. As you can see, it's whittled down to about the shape we want it. Has a nice little scoop. Now we're gonna hit it with some heavy sandpaper, and then some medium sandpaper, and some light sandpaper. We're gonna start off with this super heavy stuff here. This is like 50 grit or something. Very heavy. And you just start sanding. I probably won't show a lot of this because, I mean, let's be honest, boring. There we go. It's pretty much done. Nice and smooth. Not perfect. It's got a little character to it, as we say. But I think it should be a pretty nice spoon. I'm going to put some of this Booze Block board cream on here. There might be a better product out there, but I don't know. I'm going to slather it up pretty good and leave it by the fire. Probably do it 2 or 3 times before it's all absorbed into there. And we'll be ready to make some soup. A long time ago, I was down at a little restaurant in Atlanta, Georgia, or as the locals don't call it, Hotlanta, and I came across a dish called Brunswick stew. I tried it out, and it was delicious. I've had it a few times since then, usually down south, and it's always been good, but it's always been very different, but none quite as good as that first batch I had. So I did a little research, and it turns out it's a traditional southern dish that people used to make with whatever they had on hand, whether it was squirrel or rabbit or chicken or possum. They would just put whatever they had on hand in the pot, and then whatever vegetables they had in the pantry, they would throw it in there too, and just kind of see what happens. So I thought this would be a perfect dish to try out for the first time as we stumble through the second year and the third wave of the pandemic. And remember the good old days, back when this thing first started, when we were all too afraid to go to the grocery store, and once we got there, it was ransacked, so we had to cook with whatever we had in the cabinet. We're making Brunswick stew right here on Quarantine Kitchen.
De Leon rides his bike 4 miles from home.
Here's what we got in the fridge. Garlic, the Holy Trinity, carrots, celery, onion, potatoes, jalapeno and serrano, butter, onion. Give it a twirl with that fancy new spoon. You know you gotta salt and pepper it all day long. Every step, every step. Carrots and celery, completing the Holy Trinity. Give them a twirl. Salt and pepper. Let's get that garlic in there. Boom, right in the soup. You guessed it. A twirl. Salt and pepper. Spoon's holding up mighty nice. All right there with the old spice. Serranos and jalapeno. Yeah, I always like to use an Idaho-shaped cutting board when I'm adding my potatoes. Let's get a little chicken stock in there. What do you say? Careful when you do this, folks. Can of diced tomatoes. Some say tomato, I say tomato. Guy Clark said tomato. Let's go with that. Frozen veggies going in the pot. We got some super sweet whole kernel corn. And we got some lima beans. If you don't like lima beans, sorry. I'm only gonna use about half the package of lima beans because they're good, but they're not that good. You know what I'm saying? Ooh yeah, now we're starting to look like a hearty soup. We may need some more chicken stock, but we'll find out later. I think we got ourselves a new catchphrase here on Quarantine Kitchen. Hashtag give it a twirl. All right, I like a lot of broth, so we're putting another one in. The reason I do that is because it gets air into the container and it comes out a lot faster. But like I said before, don't slash your gosh darn finger off, okay? Now we're gonna bring this to a boil. We're gonna cover it and let it simmer for a while. Let these veggies get tender. Let those flavors release a little bit. But before we do that, I'm gonna give it a twirl. All right, you guys, I gotta be honest with you. One of the reasons I wanted to make this soup is because of the new spoon. The other reason was I have some leftover pulled pork from last night, which is delicious. So I cheated a little bit on the whole what you got deal, and I pulled some chicken earlier this afternoon. But I don't know, who's got pulled pork and pulled chicken on hand at the same time? What is this, Hot Lana? Hot Lana! Most Brunswick stews I've looked at and had in my day have barbecue sauce, and this pulled pork has a lot in it, so we're gonna go ahead and hold off on putting any barbecue sauce for a while. This chicken is pretty plain, so we're just gonna put most of it in there. Let's see what happens. Let's get a look at that. Looks pretty good. I say we give it a twirl. Look at that. Gorgeous. Y'all know how much I love Worcestershire sauce, so we're gonna go ahead and put 2 dips. 4 dips. Love this stuff. It's time to see where we're at. Get a little tasting spoon here and give it a twirl. Let's just taste the broth first and see what we're missing. I think we could use some barbecue sauce. All right, secret ingredient here, salt lick spicy barbecue sauce. I brought all the way from Austin, Tejas. I'm gonna put, this is about half a cup in the bottle. We're gonna use the whole damn thing. I ain't wasting a drop of this stuff. This stuff is liquid gold. Tell you what, these guys at the salt lick know what they're doing. All right, I'm liking where this is at. So we're gonna transfer this over to the wood stove. Of course, you can use your regular stove to do the simmer, but I'm gonna leave it on there for quite a while. That's what Mom used to do when she was making soup back in the day. She'd just set it on the wood stove and let it get to know each other for an hour or so, or maybe longer. When it starts smelling good, we'll give it a twirl, and we'll taste it, and we'll serve it. See you guys in an hour or two. All right, guys, time for the final test of the spoon and the first test of the first batch of the Brunswick stew. It's been on here for about an hour, I'd say, maybe 45 minutes, but it is smelling really good. Make sure we get some broth in there. Look at that steam. And there you have it, folks. The finished product. Handmade wooden spoon and a soup that turned out so good I'm going to rename it Braunswick stew. Well, gang, when we made that spoon, it was 45 or so out here on the porch, nice and sunny. Right now it's 6 degrees and supposed to be 15 below tonight, so let that be a lesson to you. Make hay while the sun shines. Carve that spoon in the sun, so then when it gets cold again, you can make yourself some soup. Thanks for swinging by the Quarantine Kitchen, y'all. Don't forget to hit rkmerch.com for your quarantine kitchen and other Reckless Kelly needs. I'm Willie Braun, and we'll see you next time. Ooh,